difficulty just because it gives us another letter. We have the Y letter to worry about. But we're going to use the same approach as we did with number 1 and 2. We're still going to start with the numbers that we have in the problem, the 6. What multiplies to give us 6? Well, again, 1 times the number will always work. So 1 times 6. Then we can use our calculator to test the rest of them. 6 divided by 2 equals perfectly 3. So 2 times 3. 6 divided by 3 equals perfectly 2. But I already have 2 and 3 written down, so I don't need to write it again. And if we'll notice, the answer is now smaller than what we divided by, so that tells us that we can stop. We have already found them all. These are the only combinations that can multiply to give us 6. Now let's write down the 30. Again, 1 times 30 is the first one I will write down. Let's use the calculator to try the rest of them. 30 divided by 2 is perfectly 15. 30 divided by 3 is perfectly 10. 30 divided by 4 is a decimal. We do not use it. 30 divided by 5 is perfectly 6. 30 divided by 6 is perfectly 5. But we just used 5 and 6 as our last two numbers, and our answer 5 is smaller than what we divided by 6. That tells us to stop. So we now have found everything for 30. So when I compare these two lists, I want to find the biggest number they have in common. And the biggest number I see they have in common is the 6 and the 6. So my GCF is 6. When I look at my variables, I want to do one variable at a time. Let's look at the x's. X to the 4, x to the 7. Use the smallest exponent, which is the 4. So x to the 4. Now look at your y variables, y8 and y2. Use the smallest of those exponents, which is the 2. So y2. We found the GCF. Let's now use that GCF to come back to the original problem to finish it out. 6, x to the 4, y to the 2. And then setting up the parentheses so I can write the leftovers inside. Divide 6, x to the 4, y to the 2. Divide 6, x to the 4, y to the 2. 6 divided by 6, 1. X to the 4 divided by x to the 4. 4 minus 4 is 0. The x's cancel completely out. Y to the 8 divided by y to the 2. 8 minus 2 is 6. So y to the 6. 30 divided by 6. Positive 5. X to the 7 divided by x to the 4. 7 minus 4 is x to the 3. Y to the 2 divided by y to the 2. 2 minus 2 is 0. So that means the y's cancel out. And there's our final answer for number 3. Got one last example here, guys. And then we'll be finished with this handout of notes. Our last example, number 4, very similar to that number 3. We have numbers, we have x's, and we have y's. This time we just have a subtraction in the middle. That's the only thing I noticed different. All right, so let's see if we can get through number 4. Starting out by listing 28 over to the right side, writing down everything that can multiply to equal 28. 1 times 28 will start my list. Then I'll go to the calculator to help me with the rest of them. 28 divided by 2 is perfectly 14. 28 divided by 3 is a decimal. It does not work. 28 divided by 4 is perfectly 7. 28 divided by 5 is a decimal. It does not work. 28 divided by 6 is a decimal. It does not work. And also notice 4 is now smaller than 6. So that tells us we can stop. We have now found everything that works for 28. And then beside the 28, I'm going to write down my list for 36. 1 times 36 will get us started. 36 divided by 2, perfectly 18. 36 divided by 3, perfectly 12. 36 divided by 4, perfectly 9. 36 divided by 5, a decimal. Does not work. We do not write it down. 36 divided by 6, perfectly 6. 36 divided by 7 is a decimal. We do not write it down. And then once again, notice 5 is smaller than 7. That tells us to stop. We have now found everything that works. Now I'm going to compare my two lists and find the biggest number that's in both of the lists. And this is starting my GCF. So when I compare the two lists, the biggest number I see they have in common looks like it's going to be this 4 right here. 4 and 4. So 4 is my GCF number. Now when I look at my variables, x4, x2, we're still using the smallest exponent there. x4, x2, 2 is the smallest one, so x2. y3, y4, using the smaller one, y3 is the smaller one. So we've found the GCF. Now let's come back to the original problem and let's finish it out. 4, x to the 2, y to the 3. Set up my parentheses where the leftovers will go. Divide by 4, x to the 2, y to the 3. Divide by 4, x to the 2, y to the 3. And let's finish that math work, guys. 28 divided by 4, 7. X to the 4 divided by x to the 2. Subtracting our exponents, 4 minus 2 is x to the 2. Y to the 3 divided by y to the 3. 3 minus 3 is 0. The y's cancel out. Negative 36 divided by 4, negative 9. X to the 2 divided by x to the 2. 2 minus 2 is 0. The x's cancel out. Y to the 4 divided by y to the 3.